Hello everyone! Today we are going to be talking about abstract art, specifically the mistakes that artists tend to make when they make abstract art and how to fix those mistakes to produce stronger works that have a higher chance of selling. If you are new here, hi, welcome! My name is Jaycene-Fay and on my channel I make videos on art history and give advice to artists. So if that sounds good to you, let's get into it. There is a misconception amongst the public that anyone can do abstract art, that there really isn't a difference between an abstract work made by a child, for example, and one made by a professional abstract artist. I have even heard people say, "I can do that," when looking at an abstract work in a gallery. And the truth is, firstly, that if anyone could do it, they would. And also, it is actually really difficult to make a good abstract artwork. Why is that? Well, when an artist is making a representational work, meaning that they are painting or drawing, creating what they see in front of them. So they have the layout, they have the portrait or the landscape in front of them, whatever it may be, the still life. So they have that reference to work with, whereas an abstract artist is literally creating something from nothing, which is a lot more difficult. The thing though that makes an abstract artwork good is quality. I know that I bang on about quality a lot on this channel, but it is very important when making an artwork to focus on quality, because it is something that everyone notices, especially someone with a trained eye, like seasoned collectors or art dealers. They can definitely see the difference between an artwork made by a professional artist and one that is made by someone who is making art as a hobby. An artwork by a successful artist or professional artist tends to have a certain high-end quality about them. They're polished and they're original, so they don't look like something that you have seen many times before. So let's talk about the surface of an artwork. What sets a good quality abstract artwork apart from everybody else is the surface. And this is something that people tend to look over. And I'm not saying that you should go out and buy the most expensive materials, okay? What I am suggesting is that you try something new, get out of your comfort zone a little bit. So this may look like stretching your own canvases, for example, rather than buying canvases that are mass-produced, or even working on linen instead of canvas. Successful abstract artists think outside the box. They like to try new things. In that way, they test themselves and then they are also doing something that makes them stand out from the rest. So, just for some examples for you, you can even work on silk, or you can try working on wood or board or denim or even aluminium, for example. So these are just a few that you could try and see if it works for you, but you should select something that speaks to you, that sings your personality. Something that is personal or handmade has had a lot of love and care put into making it. And that tends to have a higher quality or carry a heavier weight compared to something that is mass-produced. Now, I understand that canvases are very expensive. They can be. And I'm not saying that you should never buy canvases again, that you should never work on canvases again. What I am suggesting in this video is that you try something new, try something different. I have noticed that most abstract artists work with acrylic. And there is nothing wrong with acrylic. I love acrylic. It is convenient, it dries easily, it's great to use. However, many artists tend to use acrylic straight out of the tube onto the canvas, and this tends to make the painting look more generic and give it a sort of plastic feel. So if most artists are using the same surface materials, the same mediums to produce their work, then naturally many of them are going to look the same. And it's going to be difficult for clients to find artworks that grab their attention. So my solution to this is to explore mediums. See what you can achieve with the paint. Try different colors, try mixing different colors. You can even try adding ingredients that you haven't tried before to see what the possibilities are that you can achieve with the paint. You don't even need to stick to paint. You can try other mediums as well and textures like charcoal or ink or pastel. And yeah, the possibilities are endless really. Lisa Grobler, for example, uses beads to create abstract landscapes. Nikki Friedline uses embroidery to express emotions in her abstract textiles. You can even try using natural materials and elements found in nature. For example, in this work by Fatima Tayyab Musa, she used acrylic, enamel, and sea salt that she allowed to crystallize on the paper to form these beautiful patterns. So, as we know, composition plays a very important role in art. It doesn't matter what artwork you are making. Composition is important for creating balance, structure, and what was that? To create balance, structure, and to draw the eye to where you want it to focus. So if you start an artwork, if you make an artwork with no idea of the composition, your artwork can easily end up looking like a mess. How we arrange colors, shapes, and lines on a surface is what makes an artwork and forms the composition. Even Jackson Pollock, whose work seems super random, actually really emphasized intention in creating his works. He moved away from conventional perspective, but yet his work still had this unity and structure in them. He had a signature, energetic, all-over composition style that covered the entire canvas with a network of lines, drips, and splatters that somehow still created unity. Because even though he used spontaneous gestures in his works, he still considered the placement and the interaction between the different colors, lines, and textures. There are artists out there that seem to have a natural intuition when it comes to using color well. However, that is not the case for most people. Understanding color goes a long way in making an abstract artwork make sense. Some artists make the mistake of using so many colors that there is no coherent theme, and it is overwhelming for the viewer. On the other side, maybe they haven't mixed their colors well and now they have a really muddy painting. So I suggest limiting the colors that you use in your artwork and choose a dominant color that will set the tone for your work, and then the rest of the colors that you choose will complement and contrast with that color. But really, the most important thing is to actually learn color theory so that you can create an abstract work that will have an emotional pull for your viewer. Alright, that is it, guys. That is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you enjoyed the video and found it helpful. If you did, I ask that you please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and that you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are. And I'll see you again next time. Bye!